we got that removed.
Alright, it is 4:01 p.m. So we will officially call our Regional Library Board Trustee meeting for Monday, August 7, 2023 to order. Our next order of business is our invocation. So we will ask if Mike Dye would please provide our invocation.
Father God, we're grateful to be here today, Lord. We thank you for the many privileges that you allow us to have. Lord, we thank you for the people that think this is interesting enough for them to take their time and come and listen and be a part of it. We just thank you for everything you do for us, and we ask you to be with this meeting today and all the folks as they go home, guide and protect them on their way. We ask you these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Our next order of business is public comment. So the first topic is rules for addressing the library board of trustees. We want to make sure that everybody is aware that there are some rules. Okay, so basically we expect for everyone to remain within their time guidelines, to be respectful, right? So that means no name calling and inappropriate language. All right? So let's take a look at the library patron conduct policy that talks about us respecting the rights of each other, respecting the property of each other in the library, and accepting responsibility for our actions, and abiding by all the local, state, and federal policies and laws. And we do this to ensure that we maintain a pleasant environment and to protect the resources of the library. The following guidelines have been established for finding appropriate behavior for all those who visit one of our libraries, right? And so as a patron, we ask that you have your children who are under the age of 9, have someone with them that is at least 13, that we make sure that we tend to our food and drink. It looks like everybody is addressed appropriately today. And that anything that disrupts normal operations will have to be dealt with. Okay, so there'll be no harassment or soliciting. Okay, anybody refusing to comply will be asked to leave the room. All right. So the first topic is going to be a constitution, for public comment is constitution and bylaws. And so we will call Ken Taft now. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Before I begin, I just have copies that I'd like to.
You're gonna be reading from your copy?
There's additional materials as well. Yes.
How you doing? Can we hear what you're saying first?
Good afternoon. My name is Ken Taft, and I'm a resident of Waycross and an attorney with an office downtown. I attend Grace Episcopal Church. I'm a library patron, a member of the Friends of Law.
Hold on, I'm looking. Yeah.
Would you like me to?
Yeah, would you please, Gina? I'm sorry, Ken. We just wanna make sure we give you the
Would you like me to start over?
I really would want you to. We're gonna wait for Gina to get, the time.
I understand. I assume she'll let me know
Yeah,
when she's ready.
I'm ready, you ready?
Okay.
All right, let's go.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Ken Taft. I'm a resident of Waycross and an attorney with an office downtown. I attend Grace Episcopal Church, am a library patron, a member of the Friends of the Library, and an officer in the Okefenokee Library Alliance. It's in that capacity that I address you here today. For over a year now, I've attended meetings of the boards of trustees after a group began protesting the presence of LGBT people in the library and their representation and participation in the books, clubs, and activities of the library. They have hurled insults and false accusations at members of this community. They have, without any evidence, portrayed members of this community as pedophiles and groomers. They have falsely claimed that the library is unsafe for children, all while scapegoating members of the LGBTQ community as the cause. I am calling for this board to stand against discrimination in all its forms and to amend Article 3, Section 3 of the Constitution of the Okefenokee Regional Library System, which currently states, "No person shall, on the basis of race, sex, creed, age, disability, cultural background, or national origin, be excluded from participation in the programs, activities, or benefits of the Okefenokee Regional Library System. Furthermore, no person shall, on the basis of race, sex, creed, age, disability, or national origin, be denied full access to the facilities of the Okefenokee Regional Library System." I am asking this board to amend its provisions as follows. The Okefenokee Regional Library System recognizes, values, and actively affirms the dignity of those it serves, regardless of heritage, education, beliefs, race, income, religion, gender, age, sexual orientation, gender identity, or physical or mental capabilities. No person shall, on the basis of heritage, education, beliefs, race, income, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, creed, age, physical or mental capabilities, cultural background, or national origin, be excluded from participation in the programs, activities, or benefits of the Okefenokee Regional Library System. Furthermore, no person shall, on the basis of heritage, education, beliefs, race, income, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, creed, age, physical or mental capabilities, cultural background, or national origin, be denied full access to the facilities of the Okefenokee Regional Library System. Despite the hateful rhetoric aimed at the LGBTQ community, not one single incident involving them causing harm to anyone has been shown. However, on January 30th of this year, the police responded to an incident in which an adult male and an adult female were engaging in sexual activity in the library restroom here. When the female decided she no longer wanted to participate, the male became agitated, but the female was able to break free. While this board has been consumed with the issue of LGBTQ folks at the library, it has actively ignored the real threat that has been posed by heterosexuals at the library. Trans people are not entering the restrooms to molest children. They are simply using the restroom that conforms to their gender identity. The issue today is not about the safety of children in the restrooms. Just like during desegregation, it was not really about the water fountains. The discrimination against the LGBTQ community demonstrated in these meetings should be stopped, and this board should unanimously approve the proposed changes to this Constitution. I ask that the trustees take a voice vote where each member has to state aloud his or her position on this issue. Thank you.
And I would very much like a copy.
I was just putting it out here, y'all can pass it down.
Did you want to determine if it passed out or did you want it passed? I mean, he read from it, so.
It's the same exact thing as well.
Yes, I'd like it included in the record of today's meeting, please.
Okay. We'll pass them down to you. Well, there's more. There is, there's more. This big, for that was.
you so much. And so now we'll hear from Jennifer Hersey, am I saying your name correctly? Hersey?
It's just what I'm reading, front and back, do you want it now or after?
Let me know when you're ready.
Let me just hit 'em.
Or you could just give it to me. Thanks.
Are you ready, Ms. Person?
Yeah.
Are you ready, Madam Chair?
I think we can all agree that discrimination is wrong, illegal in fact. Several of you board members have adamantly reported that you absolutely don't discriminate, and yet you refuse.
Can you all, I'll start over again.
Start over, please.
Okay, go.
I think we can all agree that discrimination is wrong, illegal in fact. Several of you board members have adamantly purported that you absolutely don't discriminate, and yet you refuse to institute non-discrimination policies, actively try to change current policies to make discrimination easier, or refuse to sign ethics statements that would demonstrate you would protect the most vulnerable of library patrons. The purpose of this library board is to support the library and its active patrons. Your job is to advocate for people who actually use the library, to put your personal beliefs aside, and not use your seats to push an agenda that you create where problems don't exist. We're proposing amendments that will actively protect patrons from discrimination. Right now, the target is LGBTQ+ people, which have caused zero issues in this library. That is a statement of fact. But who comes next? Will you remove any safety measures for people of color? What about people with disabilities? Where does it end? We're calling for a roll call vote to adopt our proposed non-discrimination policies to protect our most marginalized citizens. Thank you.
Now we, what was her name? Her name is Jennifer Hersey. Hersey. Miss Linda K. Wilson is next to speak, however, she wanted me to make sure that I let everyone in attendance know that, she is not able to be here, that she called in advance to let us know. So, the next topic for presentation, for public comment, I'm sorry, is display policy and bathroom policy. So we'll from Kristen. Sorry.
You ready? Okay.
Thank you, trustees, for hearing me tonight. My name is Crystal Wynn, and my family has been very active in the library for many years. And 10 months ago, I stood before you sharing my concern about a symbol painted on the wall outside and about pendants hanging above the circulation desk that were about sexuality and sexual preferences, and that when I come in with my children, I get to teach them things at the library, and that it didn't feel as appropriate at any library, any month of the year or any day of the year, to have something up about this person prefers to have sex with this kind of person, this person prefers to have sex with this person, but not this person. So I shared that concern with you, and I asked that you please make a policy, I couldn't believe it didn't already exist, but please make a policy that prohibits sexuality themed displays about who likes to have sex with who, or displaying symbols about that at the library. And that was 10 months ago, and that policy still doesn't exist. And I also shared my concern about the current policy making it where men in general, not men of any certain preference that we were discussing earlier, but that men can go into the girls' restroom and vice versa right now under the current policy at all of your libraries. We talked about how there's a single stall restroom, so that if a man is confused about which restroom to go into or doesn't feel comfortable or safe to go into the boys' restroom, then there's a single stall restroom for that man. And that there was some talk about placing that burden on the children or on the staff here to make sure they catch children before they go to the bathroom and usher them to the single stall restroom rather than make a policy. There was also discussion about restructuring the bathrooms, doing some remodeling, which by all means, the commissioners send tax money this way, so if we need new restrooms, that's wonderful. But again, we don't know what the structure of the restrooms will be like 10 years from now. There needs to be a policy clearly stating that bathrooms are assigned based on biological sex, and that men in no way, shape, or form can go into the restroom. Again, girls, as you stated before, that can come in 9 and under with someone just 13 years old or older here with them. So that policy still doesn't exist today. And I know that these policies were tabled at one point by the board so that you could go back to your respective counties and hear from your patrons. But but I know for a fact you've definitely heard from the patrons. The last regional board meeting had record numbers of patrons from all 5 counties show up just to let you know they want these 2 policies, these protective common sense policies in place. Plus they've come to your local board meetings, and I know you've received plenty of calls and emails and ads. And you have that petition that was presented to you at the last meeting that now has more than 3,000 signatures of people. We only allow people within the 5 counties to sign them, so your patrons to sign them, only talking about these 2 policies. So we've heard from the patrons, and then you also heard from Attorney Wade Herring, who is a self-proclaimed LGBTQ activist, and that's who the library hired with the tax dollars to come advise you on this issue. And he let you know that if you made this ban on sexual displays, you would be banning Noah's Ark and Skittles and things like that. And thankfully, Andrea Miller did an excellent job explaining that God's rainbow that's in the sky is very different from the rainbow in these sexual symbols, different colors, so different number of colors. So you don't have to worry about Noah's Ark or Skittles. They're okay if you make this policy. And now you've received a letter from a lead Georgia attorney who's with a national legal firm that represents Citizens Defending Freedom, and they've handled plenty of cases just like this. He gave you tons of precedent here in Georgia and outside that lets you know that not only is it commonplace to have policies such as these, but that they are extremely defensible in court, and you don't have a concern there legally in voting for these policies. So thankfully, we've come to this point today. I'm very thankful, I'm very excited. I'm thankful for the work you've done over the last 10 months, and I do not pretend not to know how difficult the last 10 months must have been for you. So I'm very thankful you're here today. I'm excited for you to vote, but I do want to say, even if you didn't have the 3,000 constituents let you know what they wanted, or the legal defense team telling you you're okay, I'm asking you just to trust in the Lord with all your heart, acknowledge Him in all your ways, and it will be okay. He'll direct your path. So I'm excited for you to vote. I'm thankful for you. You've done a lot of work over the last 10 months. Thank you.
Thank you.
3,000 out of 80,000, a lot of people.
And now we will hear from Jennifer Hersey on the issue of the display policy in the back.
Just on the back side, the one that I've already given out. Right?
Let's go.
When's the last time you've been in the library and actually looked at any display? There hasn't been any book club display since April. Displays are important information for everyone, not just for one certain demographic, not just for one set of ideology. Reading helps promote education, empathy, and understanding across all different beliefs. There is a process to participate in a book club. No one is forced. The books and displays here, there are books and displays here for things I'm not interested in, and I don't try to slander and remove the club. I don't create lies and false narratives around the people who choose to participate. You don't like a book on display or a display, you don't like a club, you simply do not engage. It is literally that simple. You can't remove public information because you don't agree with it. There are romance books here that are more salacious than any LGBTQ plus book club selection has ever been, and yet there's been no outrage about those. There's very explicit stuff in the Bible, and no one is calling for its removal. If you're going to remove any information about sexuality, then all heterosexual things have to go too. Let's not pretend this is about protecting people and call it what it is: discrimination and censorship based on personal ideology. Thank you.
All right, and so that concludes our public comment, and thank you so much for your time and being willing to address us and let us know of your concerns. The next order of business on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from previous meeting. The first item is the minutes from Monday, May 1st, 2024. So those are rather lengthy, thank you, Mike. Those are rather lengthy. We have our handy dandy iPads, yes. And so if you have a challenge, you just hit the little button on the front, and that will turn your screen on. And then when your screen comes on, you'll see a little button that has our little Okefenokee Regional Library System logo. You click that, okay? And the last item that says 08.07.23 Board of Trustee packet. You click on that, that is the packet that we were emailed. And if you just use your finger to scroll up, you can scroll to the minutes. So as we have our discussion, we're all on the same page. Everybody good?
It's the same thing as this.
It's the same thing that's in your packet, correct? Now, when we get to the policy changes, the problem with the packet is it's black and white, so you won't see the color difference.
Madam Chair,
Yes, yes, sir.
you wanna vote one at a time or vote on all of them?
You have to be one at a time.
Okay. Okay.
Well, who's, okay, I can't see your
So,
thing.
I
Thank you.
will move.
That's cool.
Alright,
I make a motion that we approve the May 1st minutes.
I'll second. Okay, the motion has been made and properly seconded. Is there any discussion, question? Any corrections? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, vote. Oh, okay. All those opposed, answer by saying nay. All right, so the motion is passed. Approval of the minutes for Tuesday, June 20th, 2024. And some of you may notice a distinct difference in the minutes. Technically, minutes of meetings are supposed to record the actual, business that's transacted, the motions and things in the past. I know that for minutes, we have to have a lot of information, but typically that's not what is included in the minutes.
And the chair's comments should be the chair thanked everyone for attending instead of just the attended.
It's just got the thing.
Uh-huh.
But
All right.
the word chair meetings are less.
Yes.
And Mr. Wiggins' name is misspelled.
Okay, what's the correct spelling? What's the correct spelling, I'm sorry?
Wiggins.
Wiggins.
It's not, is it Wiggins? G-I-G-G-I-N-S?
Okay.
It's
Oh,
Wiggins.
right there. Very good.
W-H-I.
Okay, well, there you go.
Sorry.
I just know it's not correct in the minutes.
Oh, yeah, it's
I
got
was born with that
Wiggins in
name, so.
Okay. So it's still W-I-G-H-A-N.
We apologize for that, sir.
That's okay. Happens all the time.
Also, my name was left off for, attending that meeting from Pierce County. I have my notes and minutes and, agenda from that day. With me if you. I remember.
Thank
And I
you.
remember we had, like, the secretary had resigned, so we had somebody else doing the minutes, but thank you.
All right, did you all hear those corrections now? So I entertain a motion on the minutes from June 20th, 2024.
Madam President, I offer a motion that we accept the minutes with the corrections as well.
properly second, that we would accept the minutes as presented with the corrections. Any other observations or discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, the next approval of Wednesday, June 28th, the minutes from the called meeting of the regional board. We ask that you take a look at those. All right, entertain a motion, for the minutes Wednesday, June 28th.
I'll give you a motion that we accept the minutes.
Okay. 17. Mhm. Candace seconds. Okay, it has been, moved by Santina Frye and second by Candace Rice, that we would accept the minutes as presented. Any further discussion? Question? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Alright. We'll move on to our old business, trustee ethics, statement. At our previous meeting, there was some conversation about the ethics statement. Some of our members mentioned that they did not want to sign, they did not feel comfortable signing the ethics statement because of some of the language, and so it was asked that they would review it and propose updated language, so that we could have all of our trustees sign the ethics statement of our library system. So
Is that required?
I don't think there is a requirement in our bylaws, and maybe, our director can help me with that. But certainly it is an expectation. It is our ethics statements that puts us all on the same page and make sure that we have a written statement that says we can all agree on how we're supposed to serve our library, right? That we don't come with any contrary.
Is that a written expectation?
Mr. Dollar just said we are checking, the handbook, as far as I know. There is no written requirement. We had this conversation before, and the agreement and consensus amongst the group was that those who were uncomfortable, because that's what came out of the discussion. There was some words that they were uncomfortable with, could recommend a revised version of the ethics statement for the board to consider. And so that's what I'm asking for at this time. So anybody have any proposed revisions to our ethics statement? Anybody have comments about our ethics statement? Anybody have any concerns about the ethics statement?
Should we vote to see if it's the mind of the board to even have the ethics statement? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Should we vote to see if it is the mind of the whole board that we have an ethics statement?
If it's not required, I don't see, if you don't feel like signing it, don't sign it. If you do, sign it.
But,
Okay.
question was, if you have a problem with the wording, then if it affects you, then should you not come up with whatever is comfortable for you? You the one had the problem with the wording?
If it was a requirement, I would agree with you 100%. But if it's not a requirement, then you are at liberty to not vote for it, or not do it.
Where did this statement originate from, Madam President?
The Board of Trustees ethics statement was approved by the Regional Library Board on August 4th, 2014, and revised on May 6th, 2019. The Okefenokee Regional Library System trustees are accountable for the resources of the system, as well as to help ensure that the branch libraries provide the best possible service for their respective communities. Every trustee makes a personal commitment to contribute the time and energy to faithfully carry out his or her duties and responsibilities effectively and with absolute truth and honor and integrity. Each trustee shall do the best, to the best of their ability, to respect the opinions of their colleagues and not be critical and disrespectful when they disagree or oppose viewpoints different than their own. Comply with all the laws, rules, and regulations that apply to them and to the library. In the fulfilling of their trustee responsibilities, shall not be swayed by partisan interests, public pressure, or fear of criticism. Not engage in discrimination of any kind, and shall uphold library patrons' rights to privacy in the use of library resources. Distinguish clearly in their actions and statements between the personal philosophies and attitudes of those of the library, acknowledging and supporting the formal position of the OKRLS board, even if they disagree. Respect the confidential nature of the library business and not disclose such information to anyone. Be aware of and in compliance with freedom of information laws. Avoid situations in which personal interests might be served or financial benefits gained as a result of their position or access to privileged library information for either themselves or others. Immediately disqualify him or herself whenever the appearance of or a conflict of interest exists or is perceived to exist. Not use their position to gain unwarranted privileges or advantages for themselves or others from the library or from those who do business with the library. Refer concerns with library staff to the director and concerns with the director to the OKRLS board chair, and not interfere with the management responsibilities of the director and or the supervision of library staff. To support the efforts of the OKRLS board of trustees and resisting censorship of library resources and materials by groups or individuals. Now, it is my opinion that we do need a board of trustees ethics statement. We need that so that we are assured as a group that each of our colleagues, adhere to the respect that's expected. We're all on the same page and we're all playing on the same grounds.
Two things.
These requirements seem pretty standard to me.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I would like to make a statement. First of all, would we not be appointed by our commissioners if we did not have the ethical status that we needed to be on the board? Secondly, is not a lot of this already in our constitution?
Ms. Denton, I do hear what you're saying. With all that said, and I don't see a problem with you saying. or anyone signing it, if that is the case.
Simply a statement.
Yeah, I'm just making a statement as well. If that is the
But does it
case.
say it in the Constitution, I think what Mike was saying,
No,
does it
I
say?
don't
Does it say
think our
that you
our
must do that?
Constitution
No, it's not.
does not
It does
make it,
not.
does not make it requirement.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I think we are each appointed by an agency, and that serves, to my mind, as somewhat as a vetting process. I think this takes our individuality away. Why have a board if we're supposed to all think alike? And so, to me, it overstates. I serve on other boards, and this is somewhat excessive, I believe. And so, you know, I'm not going to sign it. I will do the best of my ability to serve the library, but I am an individual with my own thoughts, and the Board of Education thought that I was capable to come up here and serve in that capacity as a trustee. And I have all the citizens of this county in mind for what's best. We have boards to have different thoughts and to work things out, which is what we've been doing for the past year.
But up to this point, Candace, we haven't had a problem with any, up until very recently, with anybody not willing or wanting to sign the ethics statement either. And the ethics statement does not call you not to be an individual, but what it does call is for people to respect your individuality on the board. And it says, by signing this statement, I am willing, to, say in writing that this is exactly what I am doing and what I intend to do. And so, I just don't see a problem with the ethics statement myself, which is why I'm asking those who said they do and agreed to, let's look at revising it, your suggestions.
I have a comment. Could we check with the state librarian and the state system to
Okay.
find out if it is required? One, and if it is, then do they have an example of what they use for other boards that we could possibly know about?
I'm gonna ask if our interim director can help us with this.
This form is from the trustee handbook. It is recommended by the, state librarian as something for boards, to consider adopting, but it is not required, and it is not in your bylaws. But it is a standard document that library systems have, adopted for their boards to sign, and it has been a part of the, board's requirements, for Okefenokee for, a few years, and I have copies of documents that have been signed by board members here.
Now, did you just say it had been a requirement for the Okefenokee? Okay.
I mean, it has been something that has been adopted for board members to sign,
Okay.
and they have signed them. We have copies of signed, ethics statements, that we keep.
Yeah. And in my mind, it also helps with some liability, right?
sorry?
It helps with some level of my mind of liability.
Well, our
So it helps
employees sign it as
Yeah.
well.
For liability.
So there is an ethics statements for all of our employees as well. And so we're not asking board members to do anything that we're not asking of the employees of the region.
So this revision on May 6, 2019 came from Julie Walker, the state librarian?
It came from the committee that revises the trustee handbook.
Thank you.
I've sat on other boards where they had an ethics statement that was not near this, long or, in depth with exactly what you can and can't do. Anyway, so back to Mike's question. Can people, if they wanna sign it, they sign it, if they don't wanna sign it, they don't have to sign it, is that what you're saying?
That was what he asked if it was required.
Yeah, is that what you're saying, Mike?
Yes, that's what we've done in the past, if you didn't wanna sign it, You didn't have to sign it. If you do wanna sign it, you sign it. You already made an obligation to most all of these requirements in the Constitution. So it's just double language.
That's even more why I don't see why it's a problem to sign it. As an employee of the state, I have to sign an ethics statement to say that, you know, I'm gonna conduct myself in a certain way, and that's all this is asking about, is to ensure that everybody understands with your signature that you're gonna conduct yourself in a certain way. Madam Director, may I ask you a question? Do you know of any systems where it is a requirement, or do you know of any reason why it cannot be a requirement?
I don't have that information, but I can ask and bring that back to the board.
Alright, so then, I would like to make this recommendation that we table this issue and look into those specific questions and then bring it back at our next, regional trustee board meeting. Mr. Barber, does that require a vote of any kind? We have to agree, right, to table it?
Or did y'all take this up today to pass it as a what?
No, it was supposed to be brought back up. What happened was the ethic statement issue came up. And so some of the board members said they weren't comfortable with the language. So the recommendation was made for those persons to go and to look at the ethics statement and propose revisions, right? Well, we don't have any proposed provisions on today, but we do have new questions about our ethics statement that would impose what we do next. So I'm recommending that we table it and get the answers to these questions.
You wouldn't table it, you would. Well, first of all, what do you want to do with the statement?
Well, right now, it doesn't look like we're gonna do anything to the statement itself, but we're gonna look at whether or not there should be conversation of making it a requirement.
What was the purpose for it being on the agenda today?
Because at the last meeting, we said we would revisit it with the proposed recommendations.
Okay. And you don't have a proposed recommendation? Well, so you want to postpone it to the next meeting? That's what you want to do?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the motion it would take, postpone to your next meeting.
Okay, so we would need to make a motion to propose, to revisit it at the next meeting, so.
Yeah, just
Revisit it at the
postpone it
next
to the
meeting.
next meeting, take it up at the next meeting.
Okay. But we need a motion.
Make a motion to table this issue until further information can be provided.
Okay, so, do we need to edit that? She said, she used the word table.
No, you're not tabling, you're postponing till the next meeting.
I'm still seconding in this motion. All right, the motion has been moved that we move and properly second that we postpone the discussion of the ethics statement until our next meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Who seconded?
I second.
Okay.
Betty Jean.
This Betty Jean.
Betty Jean,
Thank you. All right, all in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. All right, let's move right along. Library initiated displays and exhibit policy.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
the one on here is not the one that was sent out after, State Librarian Julie Walker had a look at it. I sent a new one, be included today.
When did Julie Walker look at it?
Today.
Today.
Today? Okay. this is the issue that I have with that. This was sent out for us to review last week.
It's basically saying there's three.
And,
Number three, let me finish.
and this is the one that I have been looking at and examining. I have not had an opportunity to look at the one that was sent today.
That right here.
I know.
Gina, did you get it?
I received an email from Evelyn, in the midst of, the workflow of the day. By the time I looked at it, it was about 3:30, and I responded back to her to let her know we had the policy included in the packet. It was not clearly stated in the email that you sent that it was revised. So all the email said was include this with the agenda. So there is a copy of the display policy with the agenda, but I was not notified that it was a revised copy.
It's only two changes, number 3 and number 8, it's very easy.
So when I responded that it was in the packet, it was my understanding that she was asking us to include the display policy, and there is a copy of it in the packet.
It's almost exact. There's 2 lines that are different. Do you wanna see it? Thank you very much.
Do you want me to make copies of it?
I don't know that. Let me see. You said number 8 and number 3?
Number 3 and number 8, yes ma'am.
So what are the changes?
The stuff that's in red.
No, what is the changes between the one we have and the one that you sent?
The whole of number 3 and the whole of number 8. If you could just read it comparatively, you'll see the change.
This is,
You have other copies of that?
No, I thought it was included. It was kinda like last minute.
right, which is why. I appreciate all that you do, Evelyn, and you do, when you go to work, you do a good job. But we have to remain respectful of our other board members and the timing and how we proceed, with our business. And if we were having our board meeting today, and to send something to someone to take a look at and possibly recommend revisions or revisions today,
I didn't see it today. I
Okay.
got a response today.
you got a response to that, right? When did we know you sent it to her? So were we anticipating a response?
I got the email today from Evelyn.
Can we not do an amendment to the agenda that says that we can add this, the response in, today's response in?
The whole thing is not done.
I know, it's just those 2 lines, but I'm saying, I've been on other boards where when things came up, it was for the moment, kinda like this, that they would, the board could vote whether to allow the newest information to be inserted, at this particular time. And, you know, and then if the board voted, yes, it can, then you insert it. If they vote, no, you
Okay.
can't, then you don't. I mean, I've just
The
seen that
agenda
done.
should have been amended in the beginning then.
Well, that's true too.
That should have been done in the beginning. If you were gonna make any changes to the agenda, you do that at the beginning. And
Yeah,
then
and
they're
this
aware.
is,
And we've got to review that.
yeah, I agree, and it's considerably different in my opinion. So,
Do we need to postpone or table this? So we can look at the newest thing?
Y'all wanna postpone?
yes, I mean, if you want this information considered, then that is what I think we need to do. Have time to review this updated policy and, okay, so we need a motion.
Danny,
Hey, Dean, would we postpone or would we table?
postpone.
Postpone, you got it, okay.
I give you a motion that we postpone.
So Tina says that, okay,
I said,
and Kay seconds it.
We're moving properly second.
Excuse me, did we have some discussion, any discussion on that?
Sure,
Um,
I wasn't.
I think that the people here and the citizens want us to move on this action. That's obvious why we have a big crowd, it's a big part of why people are here. We've had a lot of input over the last couple of months about this policy. I think that if you're gonna table it, you're gonna postpone it, you need to set a date that when we're gonna address this, not at the next board meeting 3 months from now, but very soon, so that these people will think that we're not trying to avoid the issue, that we're gonna solve it timely.
I agree that we have new information that none of us have seen, so if we vote on it, are we voting on the old one, or are we voting on the revised? I need to know what I'm voting on.
State what the two sentences are.
Can we get copies made, like somebody offered, somebody over here said, you want me to make copies. Maybe we could get them to go make copies, and so that it could be attended to now, if that's a possibility.
So it's like a
Yeah,
table.
you're the parliamentarian,
Table
right?
and pushing it later.
Table, we could table it as written.
Oh, table it to the end of the meeting, he says, he's the parliamentarian. Is that what you said? All right.
So is the motion and second, is that you need now?
That would be-
Well, we're
You
actually
don't
have
have
a
a motion
motion.
on the table right now.
We have
Yeah,
a
we
motion
do.
and a
To
second,
postpone
and we're
it.
having discussion on the motion.
If Mr. Darrell is wanting to discuss the motion to postpone, and that's not debatable. You need to vote it, you gotta vote postpone up or down.
Okay, all right, so we're going back to the motion that's on the floor to postpone, the discussion of the display and exhibit policy,
There's two.
okay? Pending the information that we're just receiving, so that we can have a chance to look at the updates. So it's been moved by Ms. Fryer, and it was seconded by who now? Secretary Ms. Jean? Okay, by Kay, and so it's been moved and properly second, and parliamentarian has informed us that this is not debatable, correct?
It's debatable only to the time in which to, delay it, like you could delay to the next meeting, or somebody could amend it to go to the meeting after that, but only to the time.
So you could postpone it till at the end of the meeting to table it, is that what
Well,
you said?
not really, that, postpone to a certain time means later than this meeting. What you want to do is kill this motion, and then
Okay, so.
lay the motion on the
Katina
table.
wants to withdraw her motion.
I'm not finished,
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, kill a motion and do what? I couldn't hear you.
And then you're gonna want to have a motion to approve or not approve, whichever one of these you want to do. I don't know. Once you get that on the table, on the floor, then you can, use the motion to table to the end of the meeting, so you can get some more information on it, take it up at the end of this meeting. I believe that's what Mr. Darrell wants to do.
Okay, but the motion that was made before Mr. Darrow made this comment about the discussion was about postponement, and you said, why would we kill that motion?
Because if you don't kill it, you're gonna postpone it to the next meeting, and that's not what he wants to do.
I don't need it.
And there's no.
Okay, but then can't they vote no? Right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what, so can we, so
The
we.
majority must vote no to kill it today.
Okay. All right, so the motion has been moved and properly second that we would postpone, the display and exhibit policy to give us time to consider the new draft that has been provided, that has only been provided to me today. All right? So all in favor, say aye. Okay, let's do it by hand. All in favor, say aye.
Wait a minute, wait, I wanna hear it one more time. We're waiting.
We are,
Yay or
it has
nay?
been moved or properly seconded that we postpone the displays and exhibit policy to have time to look at the new draft. That's it, that we postpone, that's the motion she made.
But I thought you were withdrawing your motion.
No,
I didn't withdraw, I was listening to what he was saying about
okay.
the correct
So-
way to.
be clear. If you vote in favor of this, you're saying you wanna postpone it till the next meeting. If you don't wanna postpone it next meeting, you will vote nay.
Okay. All right. So all in favor, say so by raising your hand.
You mean postpone it?
Postpone it, if you wanna postpone it, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you raise them again so I can see them, while we make sure we got it right? 1, 2, 3, are you raising your hand? 4. Okay, and all those opposed, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay, so the motion goes.
Now you will need a motion on one of
On
those,
which,
whichever
right.
one.
So now, we have to decide which one of these are we gonna look at.
Can I make a comment?
You're not supposed to comment until there's a motion on the floor, and then she'll open it for discussion.
Okay.
My comment doesn't have anything to do with, what it does have to do with is, we could call a recess, we could distribute the materials, and vote on it later or now, whichever. I'm just trying to think some options for you.
Right, but that is about whether we're gonna look at this, the new proposal, or the one we got in the middle. That's the motion we're looking for, right? So, you got one with the motion?
I'll make a motion that we review the new, that Ms. Evelyn got from the state librarian today, approved by her. She reviewed it, looked at it, said that it was non-discriminatory, that it would fit our needs. I make a motion that we bring that into the record and we have a vote on it.
Second that.
Okay. Okay, as we move the property, second, that we would, vote on looking at the new display policy that has been presented today. And I thought I heard you say move to the end of the meeting, is that correct?
Anytime is fine, we can do it now, but that would give us more time if we.
Okay.
Have a recess.
Is there any discussion?
Who did the motions?
I'm sorry?
First and second? Okay. Who's second?
Ms. K.
Ms. K, yeah.
Thank you.
Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none.
It's where we gonna give it to somebody to go make copies for us.
You gonna make copies.
All those-
It's in color, so we can tell, we can put out comments.
All those in favor, say aye.
You,
All
you
those
know what you're
opposed?
fixing to do?
Huh?
You're fixing to either accept this policy or not accept it.
No, that's not the motion we have, which
Is
policy?
that not the motion?
No, because see, here's the issue. We already came to the meeting with this policy that has been reviewed by us, and people took time to decide what their position is on it. Nobody has a copy of this, that's just, I just got from Evelyn.
I don't understand.
And so, now, which one are we gonna look at, is the motion. The motion he made was that we would not look at this one that was sent in the agenda, and that we would look at this one.
Is that correct, Mr. Darrell?
Yes.
Okay, I
That
didn't hear
sounds
the
like
no.
there's two different, it's the same exact, only two items are changed.
Okay, but let me say this, Evelyn, when I'm looking at the one that I have in the packet, and I'm looking at this one, the wording is significantly different on number 8 alone.
Yes.
It is significantly different, and so it is not the same with just a couple of words.
And all it takes is long enough for you to read it, so people know.
And so Evelyn, it is not the same, so we do need to make a decision. Okay? And, matter of fact,
So to be clear, the motion is, are we going to choose the newest one that the state librarian has approved today to get copies made of for us to look at so that we can, vote on it in a little while, at this same meeting.
Correct.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're still having discussion, here's one of my concerns, is, I don't have the context of the email to which this attachment belongs. And can we have that as well?
I can share it, I have it.
Number 3.
Okay, so,
All
so,
I did was change number 3 and number 8, and I sent it to her and said, these are basically the last changes. Please include it in today's meeting, because I just knew that fast, so I knew I needed to get it to her. That's it.
I can read the email, if you like. Evelyn Denton, 2:59 PM, sent to Gina Martin, or director at, okrls.org. Please include the attached with the agenda for today's meeting. Thank you, Evelyn. And there's an attached, Word document. That was all that the email stated.
okay. I was talking about the email between her and Gina, since we
Oh,
weren't
okay, I'm sorry, I
we
thought you
weren't
meant the
privy
email that I
to that
received.
conversation.
I don't have an email with, the trail with Julie.
I'm sorry, phone call.
It was a phone call, so she doesn't have any.
Did you, Julie, approve it or no?
No, nothing that we can do. So what you're saying is, we've got to read the old,
You got the old one?
the old one,
So they
and
got
then
to
we're
take
just
work,
gonna
somebody
insert
gonna sign the
these
health
new
statement.
changes.
Look,
the
I'm
old
on,
one.
Really?
It's on the bottom, I can read it.
Oh, really, yeah. I read it.
But the motion is to just, whether or not we need to consider the newest revision. So can we move on, can we get that motion?
But we'll have a discussion.
Right, but that's, we're not voting on any policy yet, is my understanding. We're voting on whether or not to bring something else under consideration, another
Right.
policy revision or consideration. Nobody's voted on anything yet.
That's why they seconded it, so.
Okay. Well, we can deal with some discussion. All right, it has moved and properly second that we would, bring this into consideration. The new display policy that's just been presented, for review. All in favor, say aye. All in favor of bringing the new document into consideration, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. I say nay. All right, so what I would recommend then, let's see what's on our agenda. Yeah, that's right. We'll take a recess, that way we'll have 5 minutes. So we'll get into what we're talking about, where we're not changing. Okay. All right, so we'll take a quick 5-minute recess to make sure that we get the copies that we need, and we'll resume in 5 minutes. Yes, what are we gonna do?
Shayna here.